Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Got a little friend here. Say hi, Joshua. Y'all excuse me. Oh, and another friend. And another friend. And another friend. And just so many friends. Hello. Hello. Say hello. Okay.
Hello.
Okay. So let's get on to it. I know that you saw. Okay, thank you. I know that you saw the title of this. The title of this video, how my family of 10 survived COVID. Yes, it is true. It's not a gimmick. It's not to pull you in here. No, I do not have video footage of us having COVID because, and I don't know if there's any other videos out. I never go around looking for videos to see who survived COVID, or who has COVID, or who think they have COVID, or whatever the case may be. I didn't have recorded footage because when you're sick, you do not want to record anything. So no, there's no photos of how rough we looked or video footage because we were very, very ill. So that is the difference between just assuming that you have something and feeling like you have to record or whatever the case may be. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it. Yes, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for any of my upcoming videos if you have not, and like and share. And let's get on into this video. Okay, so it was the first part of June that it was actually June 4th. So I'm just going to be doing some walking around because the little ones just keep following me around. But anyway, so yes, it was June 4th when we first started seeing some symptoms. My 2-year-old woke up about 3 a.m. Feeling a little warm. You know how we are moms. We don't pull out a thermometer. I'm a mom of 8. If this is your very first video ever watching me, I am a mom of 8 children. Ages range from 12 to 13 months. And so at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm a mama, I'm a nurse, you know, just the list goes on and on. Prayer warrior, all of it. You know, we as women, wear all these hats because we go through so much. But anyway, he started feeling bad, and I just, you know, I said, he feels warm, but I was not thinking COVID. I was just thinking, okay, he just doesn't feel well. I'll just give him some Tylenol and lay him back down and just wait and see how things turn out. So that was about 3 or 4. Put him back down. He did go back to sleep. Got up hours later. Husband went to work. I got up and did my normal routine that I do every single morning, which is my devotion. Make sure everything is straightened up downstairs. Get ready to start. Get my coffee. I have to have my coffee. Start a load of clothes and just do my prayer time while everyone is still asleep. And I ended up, and the other kids had got up. He was actually still asleep. He slept in longer than anybody. And so I knew that his body needs to heal. That's what your body does when you're sick. It needs to heal. So I was fine with him sleeping. So we got up about 8:30 and he was burning up. And at this point, I'm like, oh, wow, let me check this temperature now. He's gotten some bug, and it's, first off, oh, yeah. Okay, first off, my kids, like I tell you in the cleaning video, they rarely get sick, and I'm thankful for that because they, just the way that I try to do things, as far as keeping the house germ-free. I can't keep it germ-free, but as clean as possible. Excuse me, I'm making a video, thank you. Go on, go play. So I try to keep it as clean as possible as I possibly can. And it's just, you know, how it is. You have kids, us as adults get sick. But at that point, I checked his temperature and it was 104. Point something. I can't remember the exact points, but at that point I'm like, oh no, something's wrong. An infection, something. I've got to get him seen. And so I ended up, and I of course called his doctor's office, and I'm like, you know what, I've got to get him seen. I called them and they said, of course, bring him on in. Excuse my trash can, I'm sorry. Bring him on in so we can see what's going on. And so I'm like, okay. So I called my husband and I told him, I said, look, Joshua is running a fever and it's 104. This is serious. So he said, okay, I've got a couple of meetings and I will get off and we'll take him on. And mind you, we are taking it's all 10 of us that's going. Now, all 10 of us can't go in the doctor's office. Well, actually they have, when you've got small children, you can, but in this state, I'm like, no, if he's going, I'll take him. Stop fighting, guys. I'll take him and you can stay with the other kids. Because we were actually having to go a couple of cities to go to the appointment. So that's why I did that. And okay, so yeah, I had to stop, you guys. Some kitties not having a happy moment. But we ended up and we got him there and got him checked in, and I was not expecting, the news that we got. I just wasn't. I was expecting it to be like an ear infection or just, how kids get little viruses and they start feeling bad because he was not coughing, he wasn't sneezing, he was sneezing, but he always sneezed. It's just, it's not like I'm not used to someone. It wasn't like a sneeze that is a constant thing to where I thought like, oh, he's got, COVID or something like that. And especially since I had been, I'm gonna just be honest with you, just trying to stay away from as many people. Oh, hold on, y'all. Baby pulling my hair. Stay away from as many people and not even traveling and just doing, you're okay, less as possible to keep our family safe, because I knew that if it came down to one of us getting COVID, we really can't isolate. I mean, we have our house is large enough for us to isolate. We have 2 extra bedrooms that no one sleeps in, but that's not something that realistically we could do. The kids, they knew it was not something that, even down to my 2-year-old, we had explained to them exactly what COVID is. But I mean, you only will know what you know unless you experience it. But Cash, I should not have tried to do this video with you. But so anyway, I ended up and took him, and they said, well, we're going to test him for COVID. We're going to test him for strep. We're going to test him for, guys. So like I said, I'm walking around the house and stuff. So yeah. So we're going to test him for strep. We're going to test him for COVID and etc. And I'm like, okay. So they're like, and it's probably not. Have you guys been exposed? The same questions that you get over and over again that actually has come to a point where it offends you, because it's just like, oh my goodness, I've got to reveal everything. Have you been around anyone with COVID? Have you tested positive within the last 10 days or 14 days or traveled outside the country? And like, no. And so, earlier that, like I said, we went to church. We started back going to church, first of all. We started back going to church after a whole year. Last year, I had my baby, so I was not trying to, they had the ban anyway where they did not want people to be going in churches, businesses, places like that. Everything was pretty much shut down. And so when we went back to church, it was like we had been 1 or 2 services, and it was like no one wearing a mask. And I go to the store all the time. I go, we're out and about all the time, parks, different things like that. So we are used to wearing masks. We're used to being safe. But of course, they were social distancing at church, but it's like, well, we're going to worship God. You can't keep a mask on the whole entire time when you're trying to sing, but we still were trying to stay as safe as possible. And so a couple of days after that, that was the holiday weekend. We could have come in contact with someone. We don't know, but we did. They ended up coming back in the room after about 30 or 40 minutes. That was the longest wait. But in my heart, I just felt like, okay, it's taken them entirely too long. I hope this test is negative. I hope it's negative. And so they come back in, and when they first took us back, they had their regular clothes on. They just had a mask, and we discussed everything that we were going to do to see what was going on. But when they came back in the second time, they were all PPE'd up. Yes. And I'm like, what in the world? Maybe they just saw a patient that had COVID. I don't know. And so they come in, they're like, hey, yeah, the test, they're positive. You know, he doesn't have strep, but he does have COVID. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. My heart just dropped because I'm thinking, really? Where did he get it from? My mind was going, just everything was going all over. We've got to be quarantined. We are not used to this. You know, we could possibly all get sick. What could happen? I don't want, you know, my husband's going to have to take off work. I mean, it was just a whole lot of things in my mind that I'm just like, what in the world? You know, what's going to happen? So of course, I was just like, okay. When they're like, okay, well, you know, is anyone else as of right now showing any symptoms? And I'm like, no one else right now is showing any symptoms of, you know, feeling bad, you know. We'll just have to take it the way it is and be safe. And so from that point on, we all went home. Actually, when I came out to the car, the kids were waiting, and I said, you know, Joshua tested positive for COVID. And they just, all of them burst out in tears. All 6 of the older ones just burst out in tears. And I'm like, why are y'all crying? And they're just like, we don't want him to have COVID. And I guess they just thought they had been hearing all the stories, but really didn't think that, you know, this is what is about to go down. You know, anything can happen to our brother. And yes, anything could happen. But at this point, I was like, you know what? We've got faith in God. God is a healer. We've been so sick to where we couldn't hold our heads up, and God has touched us. And the story goes on, and that gave them comfort. And we just went home and just took it by force. I started saying, you know, we're going to wear masks in the house, just try to stay out of Joshua's space and just let him rest and let him heal. And that was day 1. About midnight, I just started feeling delusional. I started having chills. I started running fever. My teeth were chattering, and I was shaking and sweating, and my throat was sore, and all of that hit me in a matter of hours. And so I was thinking, from what I had heard, it takes days, 2 to 14 days for, you know, you to show symptoms and stuff. No, it was not that. It was a matter of hours. And I could have, because I had been exposed, you know, hours before. It just all depends on how your body works, I guess. But I ended up, and I was feeling really bad. I got up and I took some Tylenol and laid back down. Mind you, I still nursed my baby. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is not going to work at all. Are you guys? I was like, this is not going to work with me being sick. And I'm the mama. I've got to be the strong one. I've got to be the well one. I'm not supposed to get sick. Lord Jesus, what in the world is about to take place in my home? Because it is just crazy. And so I got up, and of course I was not feeling good. I told everyone, you know, I think that I've got COVID as well. So please stay clear of me. I put on a mask. And I just started still trying to disinfect, still trying to, mind you, Joshua was feeling better. He was feeling better. He was really sick the day before, but they had also told me that in children, they may be sick for a day, maybe 2 days, and the next day they could be back to them normal selves. Just check for day 3 and 4, day 6 or 7 or something like that. They could start back showing symptoms. And that's when you have to, you know, make sure that, you know, they're okay. And so I was expecting that. I was still looking out for it, but I'm like, no one else at this point was feeling bad at all. No one else. And so this was Thursday, and I was like, okay, you know, I got a little sore throat. The chills and stuff were gone. The fever was gone. I was just like, oh, just sore throat. I'm fine. No cough. I wasn't even sneezing. And so, and I don't have COVID right now. That was just a sniff. But I ended up and I lost my taste. I had made food and I just kept tasting it, and my food just did not taste right. Everybody was eating and they're like, oh, it's good. And I'm like, this just does not have any flavor. This is so crazy. And little did I know I had lost my taste. And so the next day, Friday comes, I'm feeling horrible. Lost my smell. Stomach was hurting so bad. I was so fatigued. I was just feeling terrible. And that's when other children started feeling bad. And I'm like, here we go. But we're just going to plead the blood of Jesus and just believe that he is a healer and we'll get through this. And we did. Friday, everybody started feeling, feeling bad. My husband was still going strong. He was not feeling bad. He's like, he was working from home in his office and he was good. And I guess the reason he didn't get sick as fast is because I was still dealing with the children. And he was pretty much working all day. And so he didn't start feeling bad until Saturday. And so Saturday morning, he was like, oh my goodness, I feel horrible. And it just got worse and worse and worse. The kids were sick for about 3 or 4 days. High fever, headaches. That's what they kept complaining about. Headaches. So I was just treating them with ibuprofen and Tylenol and soup and Gatorade, and just had to do a grocery pickup, and we were just staying isolated and feeling really bad. I know this is so crazy, but my husband was like, if I don't eat anything, I'll probably feel better. That's what he thought, because in the past when he's had a cold or something, he's just like, I don't have an appetite, I'll just drink and just try to rest, and the next day I feel great. Well, COVID wasn't like that. COVID was not letting you go. It's almost like as if you have an alien trapped inside of you. And it's not an alien that stomach bug, 24 hours. I felt horrible, but I feel great. Like I'm energized. I don't even feel like I was sick. I actually felt better before I got sick. A cold, sniffles, but can still take some medicine and just go on about your life. No. I had a tongue that felt like it had been burnt with fire. We all had mouth ulcers. Now my husband didn't, but me and the kids had mouth ulcers. I had developed, after about 4 or 5 days, I developed a cough. My chest was tightening up. I was feeling like I couldn't hardly breathe. And in my mind, I was thinking, I need to go to the ER, but I'm not going because I've got to take care of my family. And so my husband had started feeling really bad. He said that he actually had passed out and hit his face and didn't even know it. He woke up and he was laying out on the floor. And so from that point, he was like, you know what? I'm just going to go get checked just to make sure that I don't have fluid on my lungs. And at that point, I'm still like, you can go and you can do whatever you want, but they're not checking me. I'm not going because I don't want to, the mom in me was like, what if I have fluid in my lungs? And they're just like, we've got to admit you, a whole lot of stuff was going on in my head. And that was the thing that was just like, no. And so at this point, the kids had started feeling better. This was after we had been sick over 7 days. The baby did develop an ear infection. And so I still had no sense of smell, no sense of taste. It was bad. The kids had lost sense of smell, sense of taste. They had started feeling better though. They started, running around and playing, and it was nothing but the grace of God. Our family was praying. Our friends were praying for us. It was just God's mercy that had touched them. But me and my husband, it was still rough on us. So he went and got checked. They told him that he did have some fluid on his lungs, but they gave him some prescriptions, and it was just going to have to run its course. And so I, at this point, was feeling so bad, and I was just like, I called my mom and I'm like, look, I am feeling really bad. And she's just like, do I need to come to North Carolina and take care of you? And I'm like, no, I don't want to be exposed. And she's like, well, you don't have anybody else, because my family's in Georgia. And so, I have a sister, of course, that she lives in North Carolina. She was asking. I'm like, no, because you've got to be able to take care of your family. I don't want anybody coming to do anything for us, because this mess is it's awful. It's a poison. And I don't want anybody to feel bad. I'm staying clear of people because I would not want anybody to feel this bad. So I had to stop, take a little break, and help him get it together. So, where was I at? Yeah, he ended up going, and, you know, I'm like, I don't want anybody feeling this bad at all. So no, just keep praying for us and it'll be fine. So I know it was nothing, but in my mind, I was just like, I don't want to go to the hospital. But the spirit in me, God's spirit just came over me and was like, get that albuterol. Since you don't want to go, let's just try some different things here. Get the albuterol. That I have a couple of my children in the past have gotten a respiratory infection, and it has affected them so bad to where we've had to make multiple trips to the hospital. So as they would get, their doctor would prescribe them an albuterol machine and some different inhalers and stuff for tightness of their chest. Thank God they did not have to have any of that. Like I said, I feel like my kids were sick worse with just an upper respiratory infection versus COVID, and I thank God for that. So I did. I pulled out that machine and I put that medicine in there, and I just started breathing and inhaling it in. And my oldest little girl, she came in and she saw me, and she just kind of freaked out, and they all were just like, what is wrong with mama? I've never seen my mom, besides having a baby, and I have C-sections. So it's nothing that they don't see. And even after I have a C-section, 3 days later, I'm like, let's go to Target. I may be sore, but nothing's keeping me down. Let's go to Target. That's my happy place while I'm healing. And so we ended up, and I was just breathing it in because I was like, I've got to get some relief. Maybe this can help me. And I was not at a state where I could not breathe, like, gasping for air. I knew if it was like that, I knew I had to go. But it just was a very uncomfortable feeling in my chest, and the burning in my chest, and then just a constant kind of wheezing and coughing that I had. And so I know what I've done in the past to treat my children, especially if it's at night where, we didn't go to the ER, but I called the nurse line and this is what they told me to do for my sick child. And so I just doubled up on it because I'm like, I'm an adult, so a child's dose, I'm going to double up on it and see if it helps me. And I did that. And of course she went and got, because we know our faith, God believing family, that we know that there is no sickness that God's blood does not cover. And so the prayer of faith, of course, is what makes you whole. And so they went, she got her other siblings, and they all came and prayed for me. They anointed my head with oil because they know that's what we have always done. And that's what the word says. And so they prayed over me, and I promise you, God touched my mind, because it was a mental thing and fear. God touched my mind, and that wheezing stopped. And so I started feeling so much better. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to get checked out. And when I got there, they told me that they did an x-ray, because I just went to my doctor's office that's connected through our hospital. I was able to get an appointment there. And they did an x-ray, and she said, why are you just not coming in? And I said, because I didn't want to. I've got 8 children at home. I don't want to be in a hospital bed and what I've seen and what I've heard, and just feel like I'm fighting for my life and be away from my kids. And she said, I understand that, that's understandable, but you should, you could have, felt a little better. And so they did a chest x-ray on me, and she came in and she said, you've got a little bit of fluid, but nothing major. I'm going to give you some prescriptions, and you just take it easy and just go on. So I know that through that prayer, what I felt like hours before, I know that God had touched my body, because I was feeling very bad. And so I still was not 100%. This is the thing. Even though you're praying for healing, and this is with anything in life, COVID or anything, it's a process sometimes. In the Word of God, you see miracles that was instantaneously, and then you see miracles that took place, over a period of time. And so it's just the whole point of this COVID. Yeah, when you get it, you want it to go away in a day. You even get in your mind that it's like it's a plague. I can't be. I'm a bad person. I've got COVID. What have I done? No, it's just an illness that attacks your body, and you need to just rest, and you need to stay away from people, and you need to just know that even though it's a period where I have to go through it, God is still faithful, and he still can touch me and heal me, no matter how long it takes. So that doesn't mean that just because I'm still having to go through the process that God is not going to touch me, because he is touching. Even when you don't feel him touching you, he's touching you, and his mercy and his grace is with you. So that is what I took to heart, because it was more of a mental issue that I had dealing with it than just the physical part, because I felt bad. I've been fatigued. I've had a headache. That was another thing. Terrible headaches. I've had bad headaches. I've had neck pain. I've had soreness. I've had the flu. I've had a stomach bug. I've had all of that. Not all at the same time, like how COVID affects you, but it was more the fact that this is something that you feel like you are never going to get better. You feel like the world is moving and going, and everybody's doing things, and here I am, isolated, stuck in the house, and so dreadfully ill. When is this going to be over? God, when is it going to be over? And so I'm thankful for that. Now like I said, I was put on antibiotics because they did see a little bit, but I never had to go to the hospital. I never had to get put in the hospital. And I know some people have had to go through that, but I thank God that I did not have to. And I thank God that his mercy was upon me, to where I stayed in the house, and we all got it. We all had it. And we all made it through, and we are putting that behind us. And even though it's still crazy and chaotic in August now, and that was the beginning of June, we had it for about 18 days. Yes, we had it for about 18 days, and it took up until about 2 weeks ago for my smell to fully come back. It was a long time before it came back, but God is still a healer. That's never going to change with him. And where we got it from, I don't know. If it was our time to get it, I don't know. It really doesn't even matter one way or another. In that aspect, we're just thankful that we made it through, and that we are alive and well, and just going to continue to be safe. We're going to continue to take precautions for the future, and just know that this and anything else is just the trying of your faith, and it worketh patience. You're going to go through things. You're going to endure things. Yes. But God is faithful, and I hope that this video helps anyone that may be struggling with things on a spiritual level, as far as dealing with anything in your life, or fearing the unknown of, will I get this strand or that strand, or how many more strands to come, or even if I'm vaccinated, even if I'm not vaccinated, will I still get sick? Will I die? My loved ones? Just plead the blood, stay safe, and that's all you can do, because he already said we can't worry about what we're going to put on tomorrow, what we're going to eat, or what we're going to drink. We just have to trust that he's in control, and don't allow your fear, or don't allow the enemy to assault your mind to make you think that God does not love you, and you've done this wrong, so he's punishing you with this. God is a merciful God, and after all the things that he is in control, and he knows absolutely everything about us, even the things that we're unaware of, COVID would be probably the last thing that we would have to worry about for his wrath. I just feel like God is a very powerful God, and COVID is nothing compared to what his power holds. So you can walk outside and get struck by lightning, So it's just a matter of just learning to rest when you need to rest, and know that you are not invincible, and know that it's the sickness, this too shall pass. That's what kept coming to my mind. This too shall pass. It will pass. I will not allow this to have control over me and have me so fearful of what's to come, COVID or anything else. And I will see you guys next video. Bye.